Record. Hold on. Let me check my. I'm just like my listening to you volume is a little funky.
That's what they call it.
Uh, say something else.
Something
Fuck you,
else.
bitch.
Yeah, weird. It's like maxed out on the tab, but then if I use the physical volume button, it does seem to get louder. So quirky shit on your tech.
Mm.
Okay. Well, Luke, you know the TVs and laptops and shit, same sort of thing at work. You never know what's going to actually turn the volume up. You have to try like three different things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You need a stream deck, bro. Get yourself a
Well,
stream deck.
at work, I'm not getting myself in anything. I'll just use whatever's there, you know?
What you do is you have Amazon send it to your work and bill it to them.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
I could get away with that shit. Matt can't.
Hmm.
Some guy
I've never
some
tried.
guy just got arrested for like sending like $7 million of bills just to like Google and Amazon for random
I've heard
shit.
about people doing that before. Absolute kings.
Love it, love it.
Okay.
Have you got a number for me?
Oh, by the way, before we get started, because I know Luke might just tap out before we're finished. Are any guests for next week?
What's next week?
Well, it could be Will for Crossroads. It could be I just don't think I ever got a name for Coco. It could be Stuart.
Okay, I need to. Yeah, I haven't messaged Julieta yet. I'll message her today.
Okay, so if any of them are around next
Stuart, you know the date.
Tuesday. Was that?
Stuart, you know the date. You chose the date.
Oh, Stuart, we got what was the date for
that was
Stuart?
like October something, right?
Oh, wait, did I put him down for your name? Okay.
Oh, he's down for Batman.
Oh, Jay, right. But do we have a date for Batman and Robin? Because I don't think I've actually put it into the meetings yet.
This isn't my.
Jay's there.
Yeah, but when is your name happening? By the way, that's next
Thursday,
week, right?
October 3rd, and then I'm just gonna edit it right then and there and put it up because it doesn't take that long. I mean,
that one's your name.
Yeah, isn't?
I thought that one was Batman.
I thought that's Batman. You're getting confused.
Oh, that's Batman. Okay, that's Stuart then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Edit.
What?
Okay.
When you said Will for Crossroads, you're not talking about my friend Will, are you?
I think I am.
Are you? Did he say that you do Crossroads? I don't even remember that. I'll have to ask him then. I don't remember that.
It's on the list. Will Sanders.
Okay.
So maybe he wanted to talk some Britney. I don't know.
guess he did. I don't remember that.
So I'm changing that.
Glad you said it now instead of like right when it's.
Yeah, Jay's on the week of the 23rd.
Hold on.
And then
week of the 23rd. Right?
Yeah, so Jay is your name. We're getting it up like the week it comes out.
Okay. Oh, if it's October
next week.
Then that's ahead of time, so I don't have to just plop it out. Anyway, we'll square that way later. But next week, I guess, could be see if Will wants to do Crossroads, and if he doesn't want to do it anymore, we'll just do Crossroads.
Okay, so either way, next week is Crossroads.
Well, if he's like, I can do it in 2 weeks, maybe it's not. But yeah, for now.
I mean, if he doesn't want to do it, Mercy will do it because it's got Britney Spears in it.
Well, she's going to be there anyway, right?
Both.
Yeah, well, she can sleep right now.
Like, I assume she wants to do your name.
She's not doing yeah, but she's probably not going to do your name if it's a 6 a.m. recording with Jay.
Isn't it 7? It came in at 7.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to go later anyway because it's it'll be like an 8 a.m. if it's 11 p.m. for him.
Oh, we never gave you your number either, which I could give you.
Oh,
yeah, which is what this whole conversation was.
71.
In at number 71, but also, depending who you ask, in at number 1.
Yeah, that's
Smolensk.
Okay, so that was just just a pregnant pause there.
That's good morning.
So I have to get one thing out because I got confused on the entire movie because I thought they had. So I'm going to be I thought they had cast 2 similar looking ladies that were playing 2 different roles, and one was 10 years older. But I think it was just like really bad inconsistency in makeup and haircut because in the middle of the movie I was like, there are 2 brunettes, and by the end of the movie,
playing
I was like,
the main character.
One. Yeah, I had
that's a you problem, dude. I didn't have that.
I didn't get that. I did think that sometimes the hair and makeup was off, but
okay, and there is more reasons why this would have confused me. But I for real thought there were 2 similar looking actors in this movie like about an hour in. I was like convinced of that.
She literally did less acting than anyone else, even though she was the character we were with for almost the entire film. Mostly just sat there and listened to people, and it was like,
By the way, listeners, if you're listening, we assume you did not watch this movie. Should we talk about?
Smolensk. Have we said the name of the movie?
Yeah, I said it. Smolensk. This is a 2016 Polish movie based on a real 2010 air disaster made by conspiracy theorists to push the conspiracy theory that the plane was brought down deliberately by the Russians. And when we made the list back in what year was it, Matt? Was it last year?
2023. It wasn't
2023. No, just last year.
Okay, well, we made the list last year. This was the 71st worst ranked film on IMDb. I believe it is now the worst ranked film on IMDb.
with a bullet, with an explosion.
That might be because the Polish far right, what was it called? Not Love and Mercy, but something along those
Law
lines.
and Justice.
Law and Justice. See, Love and Mercy, how am I thinking? Like a hippie. They came back in power in 2022, did a report that basically confirmed this, and in 2023, a more rational government took back over, got rid of that report. So I wonder if that made the score plop here.
Simple. It's not that simple.
Okay.
I will try to make this as digestible as possible. But there was one of the largest demonstration, I think, in Polish history in 2023 to protest a law that was pushed by the Law and Justice Party that basically the way it seems is that if a politician is even suspected of having ties to Russian government, they're removed from the ability to hold public office for 10 years. And this was, it's interesting how, Russian influence is on the other side in this country. But, it's like basically people were like, this is just something that people could use to like remove their enemies from power. There's a huge march and it was sort of withdrawn. And basically the guy who the law was mainly aimed at, who's named Donald Tusk, who's unfortunately not a walrus version of Donald Trump, is the prime minister now and leads a coalition of, I don't understand coalitions all that well, but it seems like he is trying to reverse their backslide, like out of democracy, which is, well documented. That's not me making a judgment call. It is very well documented that there is like an erosion of democracy that's been happening there since at least 2015. The guy who's the president now refused to swear in 5 justices who he didn't agree with, who were elected. There's a lot of other stuff. This guy seems like a real piece of shit. Not even gonna get into it. Not gonna name him. Seems like a bad time over there, and seems like probably what happened was this huge demonstration and this huge like backlash against what's going on over there led 40,000 people to vote this is a 1-star movie in 2023.
Okay, let me lay the groundwork out. We never said the podcast name. Films of Filth. This is Matt here. There's Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
There's Luke there. He's drinking a drink.
Yeah, Matt did that at lightning speed, so I thought I had time to drink a coffee, but I didn't.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get through preliminaries. And let me go ahead. Like I said, we had to take a Polish cut, and Mark found Romanian subtitles, which you then
put them through Google Translate.
Google Translate, and then stuck them. Which, by the way, were not. I mean, the movie was incoherent, but the subtitles were not bad.
Yeah, I'm a professional. Okay, I ran a film festival for 10 years. I was the technical director of a film festival that I would like to say was a technically proficient film festival. I can do this.
Okay. And anyway,
unfortunately, the movie doesn't deserve it.
No, the movie didn't deserve it. But it didn't feel like I was reading transliterary garbage. Was I reading like the best translation ever? Of course not. But yeah, whatever. I'm getting the impression that you have big rants piled up, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other part of our preliminaries, which is the summary, which is short. So the wiki page for this film, the air disaster, has an endless page, which I skimmed. I guess everyone, I don't know if Luke skimmed.
I just, when I was in the process of figuring out what the fuck this film was, I ended up doing a bunch of research.
Okay, so the film wiki is like the shortest thing ever. Like, it has a 2-line storyline. So I'll read that. I just like, and anything I'm writing is going to be 2 sentences too. So let's do what other people wrote. Wiki says Polish reporter of television TFM SAT Nina lead the investigation of the air disaster in Smolensk. From the beginning, Nina, like her boss, is skeptical about the theory of assassination, but she changes her opinion. Not the best written bit of wiki there. What I really like is this tagline from IMDb, which is much better. An inspired story of people affected by the 2010 crash of Polish Air Force Flight 101 in Smolensk, Russia. Fiery reporter Nina won't accept the story she's been given and is determined to find the truth. I'm not sure if that's a tagline or a summary. So
that's what someone wishes the film was. None of that comes across in the piece.
Yeah, she doesn't seem determined to do anything. She just goes from place to place talking to people and goes,
she stumbles from place so I felt equipped to watch this film. I'm a listener of every episode they've ever done of QAnon, QAA, which is a podcast about conspiracy theories, and particularly like far right conspiracy theories, and how they've been tracking the way it went from like an obscure online weirdness to basically the norm in American politics. And they've watched a bunch of conspiracy movies and Christian movies. And this follows the template like to a T. Like, is the exact same plot as all of them. And then it's made for people who already agree with it.
Yep.
So there's no drama. And it has the main character is, in a Christian movie, she would be the atheist character. Here she's a non-believer, right? She has her mum who's a devout believer. You know, she's quote unquote cool and young or whatever. She slowly comes around, reconciles with her mother, and believes in the conspiracy. Just by talking to a bunch of dudes in boring scenes.
Yeah. So last night, as I was mentioning, first, I got ahead of myself. I didn't have to watch so much stuff for podcasts this week, and I started watching this 3 nights ago. I watched the first half, and then for 2 nights, I just found like excuses not to continue it. Let's look at what my YouTube history is. I watched things about Venera probe landing on Venus. I watched videos about the Faroe Islands, Kyrgyzstan. I don't think I watched that one. I watched a few videos of Roger Rabbit's cartoon Spin. There's the Faroe Islands again. I was just watching so much crap, so I didn't have to like continue this.
Are the Faroe Islands like where Epstein had an island?
No, these are the Scandinavian metal islands.
Oh, okay.
So is it interesting?
Like,
they have
they have a soccer team, I think.
Yeah, it's the smallest capital in Europe, but they I think 50,000 people total. I could talk about the Faroe Islands for the next 45 minutes.
We've got too much stuff to talk about, Matt, so we can't talk about the Faroe Islands.
Okay, no, like we need to talk about how the president of Poland who was killed in this plane crash was actually a child actor and starred in a movie called The Two Who Stole the Moon with his twin brother, Jaroslaw Kaczynski, who's still alive.
Who took over as president, I think, when his brother died.
He actually lost.
Okay.
He lost from what I can tell, he lost the election to someone more conservative, but they still were basically their politics were basically almost everything was conservative, just post-communism. It seems like I couldn't find a whole lot of leftist anything until recently.
So
here's the plot for that.
They're probably in that same position the States is in, where like what they call the left would be the right in a lot of other countries.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I didn't even see a whole lot of people even calling themselves. Anyway, the plot to that movie is the two twins, Jacek and Placek, start out as cruel and lazy boys whose main interest is eating anything, including chalk and a sponge in school. One day they have the idea of stealing the moon. After all, it is made of gold. After a few small adventures, they manage to steal the moon. Immediately, a gang of robbers notices the little thieves and capture them. The two regain their freedom, and one of the twins devises a plan to enter the city of gold. The plan works, but when the robbers try to collect the gold, they turn into gold themselves. The twins escape and then run home and promise to help their parents with their work as farmers. Europe is a very magical place.
Well, they love former actors as
that's based on a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Zelensky like a comedian until like a week before he took
Oh
over
yeah,
as
you're right.
leader of Ukraine.
I mean, Reagan and Trump, man, glass houses.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Yep.
if you can do it on
Yeah,
one stage, chances are you can do it on a different stage.
but
Or it's a conspiracy. They just getting actors to take over the main roles.
the Russians saw this movie and they were like, I want to turn someone into gold, and they decided to murder the president.
Smolensk?
Yeah,
That
Smolensk.
that made watching Smolensk made them want to turn
No,
someone.
No,
watching
the
the
movie
dude who
he just
stole the
talked about,
moon.
the
I
child
know what
movie.
you mean. I'm trying to be funny.
Oh,
Oh, well, you're not good
no,
at it.
I don't think
You're
they
done.
even bothered to watch. I don't think they bothered to watch Smolensk, honestly.
Well, yeah, like, because so I found just trying to find anything about it. I found a review from a Polish newspaper, but it was talking about how it had been released and they'd done a screening, but they just invited a bunch of right-wing press and politicians and no actual media. So it was getting all of these rave reviews because it was just being watched exclusively by its target audience.
And
But
the
I doubt
president.
any of them. Do you think the president sat through the film for that?
Yep, I do think he did. He probably didn't enjoy it, but I think
He
he
could have
sat through
napped
it.
through it.
Okay. I was gonna say, do you think they all, they accepted the free drinks and hors d'oeuvres, gave a good review, and then fucked off somewhere else, would be my guess.
I would love that if what they really did was just like start the film, but then like turn off the light and the projector and just sat in the room drinking. Just sat in the theater
Yeah, that
drinking and
does
not
tend to
watching
happen off in Eastern Europe.
it.
Um, I guess so. Like I said, I was watching it last night. And the main, I just started timing it. It was like no scene in this goes past like 30 seconds, and it's all exposition dump. It's just exposition
Yeah,
dump after
it's
exposition dump after exposition dump. There's no actual like, there's no real conversation of any kind.
yeah. There's no conversation in this that seems like two human beings talking to each other. It feels like the worst example of that modern thing where every scene and shot in the film is trying to be the trailer. Like, nothing
The
feels
30
like it's
second
shot
thing.
to be a film, right? It's shot to be like the first 10 minutes has that same piece of vaguely dramatic music playing under it. Like, I was watching it like, I started this film in bed, watched like 15 minutes, went to sleep, and then watched the rest on the train the next day. So Mercy was lying next to me and she's like, it's still playing the same music.
One of my first notes in the movie is, well, soundtrack seems fine now, unless it just keeps doing this. And then it just kept, well, next scene, it's still just doing this.
Yep.
And then editing, of course. Like I don't even care about the conspiracy theory that much because I don't live in this part of the world. But yeah, I was just like, once they start doing the flashback to the plane crash, that's also incoherent. It's just like, here's an airport, here's people walking into the airport. Now here's a few scenes
Yeah.
of the reporter talking to people.
I
Here's
couldn't
people in the
tell.
cockpit.
I couldn't tell the guys in the cockpit were supposed to be in a cockpit. I thought they were in air traffic control because that set looked nothing like an airplane cockpit.
Well,
It
you're
was the
not familiar
size
with
of a
Soviet
school
planes.
gymnasium.
Clearly didn't. Yeah, they didn't have money to rent a
So they
fake
just put some
cockpit.
dudes in a room with some chairs in pilot
Soviet
hats.
Russia, they flew gymnasiums. I'm just assuming they're still flying stock from that.
This is the thing I've complained about before, and I still need to find a term for it. But there's a type of movie where you just follow the main character around, and it barely ever shows anything except for like this one main character, and they just go from place to place talking to people, and it's like watching someone take a tour or something, like a guided tour.
In this case, the
And
box factory.
and I also was thinking this is kind of like if Citizen Kane had no flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Except to a plane.
Yeah, okay, there's the beginning and the end, but
well, and also to fucking the ghosts of the dead from a real tragedy.
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, they keep I feel like they only have people take planes on this movie because they almost figured out how to do dramatic tension where it's like, ooh, it's scary, they're on a plane, remember what happens when you're on planes. But it doesn't really work like that.
I guess
it just doesn't work.
For the audience's sake, we haven't really talked about what the Smolensk air disaster was. It was in 2010. So the Polish prime minister, a bunch of cabinet members, and a bunch of top military guys.
And no cabinet members, parliament members. It said the government did not get screwed, and they didn't have too much problems with the continuation government because there were no cabinet members on it.
They were on their way to pay their respects to an earlier tragedy, which I've forgotten the name of. Do you have that to hand, Mark?
I think it's just Smolensk.
No. It's called something else.
The 70-year earlier one, 70-year anniversary. So
give me a second, but yes, it involves Stalin.
Warish.
It involves
the Katyn massacre.
Oh, okay.
Which was in which a bunch of Polish prisoners of war were massacred by the Soviet army in the start of World War II, before they were our allies, back when they were Hitler's allies at the start.
And it was a weird thing where they blamed. It was like they blamed the Germans for it, but it was actually Stalin. There was a weird thing.
Yes.
If you read up on Polish history in the mid-20th century, like Stalin,
as one does.
I mean, they really got, after getting fucked over by the Nazis, obviously, then Stalin really did a number on them right after. So it's
But anyway, this airplane was on its way to the 70th anniversary, like, memorial of that massacre, and the weather was very bad, very foggy. The plane attempted to land when it shouldn't have, crashed into a forest, and everyone on board was killed. But of course, as we should assume at this point, when a bunch of politicians die in what seems like an accident, there are plenty of people there to assume it was an assassination.
The military did have a problem. All of the top commanders were apparently on this airplane.
It was like the general of every branch, basically.
There was something... I read a lot about it because it actually is much more interesting to just read the Wikipedia article on the nuts and bolts of the air disaster than watching this film, which is interesting. They could have just made the film about that.
Yeah, because it sounds like it was a poorly trained unit. It was like
the pilot was overworked. The air traffic control was Russian. The pilot was the only crew member who spoke Russian. So everyone else was having to take instruction. He was having to, like, I guess, translate and do things. And also, I think the Smolensk airport is very small. And it wasn't in the database. It was a weird thing where the runway is like higher than the runway is like really high, but then there's like a valley next to it. So they basically ended up in a valley because they were listening to one piece of equipment and not another. They were taking the wrong readings, and it was.
And he was on the president's bad side, right? Like 2008, apparently the president, he was flying and the president insisted that he change to a new destination. He's like, I don't have a flight plan for that, and landed at the correct destination, which he was. There's an inquiry. They're like, yes, you're correct. They gave him a silver star, but the president did not let this guy fly him until this flight. So he was like, I can't tell him no again.
Yeah, and
I mean, that's way more interesting than a conspiracy, isn't it?
It was a Russian-made airplane. There was a lot of tests done. It was a fully functioning aircraft. It was not, it's all been disproven by people who are smart and careful. That even though this movie does not, this movie even says that there's something where a journalist is said as being dead towards the end of this movie, and not only is the journalist in real life still alive, but they used the footage that he filmed in this film.
Mark, a report as recently as 2022 agrees with this movie.
Yeah, a widely criticized report done, which basically did no research. The government said, make a report that says this, and they went, okay, and made a report that said that.
Yes, the Law and Justice Party still holds the office of president. So who knows what's going on. We know that that party has fully endorsed this conspiracy theory, even though, man, I don't know what it's like to live in a country where Russia has like loomed over you like that. I'm sure that is
my annoyance here is the same annoyance I have when I try to, like, if you want to accuse anyone of anti-Semitism at the moment, you have to be like, don't be anti-Semitic. But that doesn't mean I'm on Israel's side. And it's like, don't push conspiracies and make shit films like this. It doesn't mean I like Russia.
No, we are not a pro-Russia podcast, but it's like, Russia didn't do everything.
What are you saying, Malik?
Comrade, what do you say? I'm pro-communism, but that's different.
Yeah.
Like, what was, oh yeah, the other, just while I'm ragging on the filmmaker, I feel like my job today is to do this ripping apart at the filmmaking scenes. I guess Mark's fully capable of that too, but the stock footage use, it made me like really appreciate Ed Wood's use of stock footage. Like where it's
Yeah, this is not nowhere near as good as an Ed Wood movie. That
yeah.
nobody's
And sometimes you can't tell when it is stock footage. Did they have a fake Putin actor in a scene and then show the real Putin on scenes bookending that? I think there was a fake
Maybe.
Putin in the
Thought
room,
it
the
was
scene
real
before that, and the
Putin.
scene after had. No, I think they had an actor in one scene.
I
and then-
definitely saw a real Putin on screen. That's
Oh,
for sure.
you did. You mostly did. There was only one scene where I think they needed to have a conversation because I thought it was still stock footage, but then it's like somehow I figured out this was because they were talking about the conspiracy, so that wouldn't be stock footage. And there was like in the background, I said, "Is that a fake Putin, or maybe it's just another Russian?" I don't know, but
I mean, he's a pretty generic looking guy, so
yeah.
Yep.
The bear the KGB you with, yes.
So you might as well get to the dumbest thing, what I think is the dumbest thing in the movie, which is just at the end they just show the a realistic CGI version of the plane exploding.
Oh, that one shot, it's like 2
Which
seconds
is
of
not-
CGI and then it goes to black.
No, not the good one. Not that's the good. That one is fun.
That one still
That
sucks.
I'm talking about I'm talking the one towards the end where it's like more expensive but still cheap.
You like
But
the
like-
Spice World.
like the wings
the bus
exploding
jump.
and then the plane falling apart.
Yeah, it's like that narratively that does not belong there at all. It's not like someone is watching. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, they
just
could have found to
showing
find
it
a
to you.
videotape or something, right? Or
I don't know.
or speak
It's
to a witness or something,
Mhm.
But I guess the problem is they're trying to stick to quote unquote the facts, and there isn't actually any evidence to support their idea, so they couldn't have her find any evidence.
Yeah, it's for people who already believe this watching and be like, "Oh man, finally I get to see what happened." Because you don't know what happened already. Like everyone fucking knows what this is about.
Well, you can follow this reporter to find out what happened in details because she's looking for the truth.
I'm sure it happened exactly like this. There's a reporter who just keeps getting approached by people who are like, "Let me tell you what really happened."
Was
Are you
that
sure
bald
we should
guy
be
supposed
talking
to be like
like
a
this?
cool hero guy? Because he was like the most annoying person I've seen in film for like years.
Which one was that? I don't even remember.
The guy that's letting her, I think the first guy that's really letting her in on the truth, and it's just sitting
Yeah.
looking smugly at tables and then saying something else that shows that this is all a cover up or whatever. Sorry, I didn't get names. I'm like brunette lady, bald guy. I can't handle these names. Sorry.
What?
Yeah, I'm
Tusk,
not good
I
at
can handle
remembering
Tusk.
Eastern European names, and also I didn't care enough to try.
That too.
And why did she go to Chicago? And that she had to go to Chicago to talk with people at the Chicago Tribune and then meet with a
So they
conspiracy group
so
in
they can
Chicago.
pretend it's a big budget film,
Yeah.
and B, maybe they are friends with a bunch of American conspiracy people, and they wanted to shoehorn them in there.
Yeah, you
I
can
guess it's
tell it's
not
America
impossible.
from the US flag on a building. Never mind the Eastern
Yeah.
European architecture and Polish sign in the background.
No, you can tell because they're meeting with people in a room with a sign on the wall of the room that says Chicago Tribune and the
Right.
Chicago
Oh, to be fair, I'm
Tribune logo.
referring to the outside shot, but they can at least
Oh, yeah,
control
but-
that room a little more. But there was totally
Yeah,
a
'cause
sign in
that's how it
Polish in the
is.
background. I'm like, I mean, they might have a few signs in Polish in Chicago. I don't know.
This is one of the most interesting things reading up on Polish politics is for some reason every Polish like party and coalition who has a logo, they're awesome logos. Like there's the coalition of like the leftists is just called The Left, which is also an awesome name. Great logo, man. It says Luica, so I guess that's Polish for left. But it's
I
like
know
this,
what T-shirt collection to get you
Anyway.
for Christmas.
Yay! Yeah,
Just on the back,
like-
please don't start a conversation with me about this. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Mark knows.
Yeah, if
He's
you-
been studying up on Polish politics. He's good to go.
Yeah, if you get me the Prosumini Centrum shirt, I have to like tell people that I'm not actually involved with that party. It just has a cool logo.
Oh, here's a note. Maybe what I figured out was one woman when I wrote, "Are both brunettes in Chicago?"
What?
I really had trouble with it because I was
Oh,
like, I really
God.
think that must be the same, but I don't know. I guess it's just the production inconsistency. I mean, you know, different person on a different day, then they made them look
Matt's
different.
been bragging for years that he has 2 wives, and he just realized that sometimes his wife wears her hair up and sometimes she wears it down.
Oh, man. That
I
sounds
thought I
pretty
was
exciting.
macking.
He thought he was a big player.
Maybe you have that thing, the face blindness thing, where there's that guy who asked his children have to wear name tags because he can't recognize faces.
Elon Musk?
Oh no, he doesn't recognize his children even with the name tags.
On his planet, they don't have children.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure in his house they don't have children.
Right.
They're somewhere else.
Yeah, the 30-second rule. There was I did like the climactic scene of the narrative, her finding the truth. That was the only scene that seemed to run for more than 30 seconds, but it wasn't interesting. I think that was the climax of the movie where she goes to the diner and she's talking to that guy that vaguely looks like Jared Harris or something. He looks like a Mission Impossible villain.
I looked at I wrote down one of the guys who looked kind of like Freddy Krueger, like Robert Englund.
Oh, maybe that's who I'm
Like
thinking
towards
of,
the
because
end.
that's in the same zone. Yeah. So was that the
Sure.
climactic scene with those two sitting in a diner?
I thought the
Yes.
climactic scene was watching the bad CGI plane explosion at the meeting in Chicago.
I thought that was the denouement.
So that was what, after the climax? I don't know.
Well, there's problems with the structure of this movie, I guess is what we're getting at.
Maybe the climax is when you watch her have sex with her boyfriend randomly
For 5 seconds.
Yeah, almost
just enough for the trailer. Yeah, okay.
But when she goes night clubbing with like the most boring dude ever, and they just like barely bump up and down like your drunk uncle at a wedding, and that's meant to be,
I thought when
this
she
is
got
a cool
home,
thriller with a nightclub scene.
when she got home, I thought that was one scene where I was like, okay, she seems convincingly tipsy, kind of like Marina Sirtis in First Contact, where it doesn't quite
To be
work, but it's
fair,
kind of fun to watch.
With other material, I believe this lady could be a good actor.
Oh, there's nothing to judge her on here. It's literally just exposition dump. Next scene,
She
let's
has
dump
the
more exposition.
She gets to do the Solid Snake scene of just other people say things, and she goes, "Metal Gear."
She gets to ask the questions.
Honestly,
like, just repeat back what they said with a question mark at the end.
True, that is true, because they just come up to her and tell her stuff, because that's how journalism works.
Controversial, maybe. I think most of the acting in this movie is decent. Like, I don't think
I couldn't
anybody's
even judge
doing
it.
a bad job.
I mean, obviously we have the bonus of they're speaking a language we don't speak and stuff, which can sometimes cover up some bad acting. But like, yeah, no one was terrible, but also no one was given much to do. Like, it's not hard to be a decent actor when all you have to do is say conspiracy things in hushed tones. Like,
does anyone know if Sound of Freedom is a competently made film? I don't think any of us
I do not believe it is. No, but I've listened to the QAA on it, and
okay,
I'm
just curious because I mean, what do we have in the States? I'm just going, the Conversation. That's a pretty perfect movie about conspiracy. I mean, that's completely fictional.
And like Mel Gibson's conspiracy theory stuff like that can be decent. But films that are trying to push like a
you mean the movie, not his latter-day conspiracy theory?
Wait a minute. Sound of Freedom is rated 7.6.
It's got fans, dude.
That's because it still has the bump of all the people who believe it, giving it good reviews.
Yeah, all the churches
Mira
bought all the
Sorvino
tickets and made all the reviews. What?
Mira Sorvino is in this. I'm devastated.
Okay. It could be your favorite movie, Mark. You don't know. You haven't watched it.
Well, I never will watch it unless it gets to over 8.3.
Oh God!
Start this
If we had to put it on the good list.
I bet there was a day where it was on the good list.
But it's right. It wasn't my birthday when I made froze the list.
Is that a highlight of the difference between Europe and the US? Is that our conspiracy theory movies are only really judged harshly if they're specifically poorly made, and Europe is just like, no, fuck that. We're just gonna tank this to the bottom.
There's enough people. There's more people gunning for it and giving it good reviews because they agree with it regardless of if the film is bad, and less people going out of their way to give it the bad review who give a shit.
Yeah,
So it gets skewed the other direction.
I mean, I don't
I
know
But I
much
think-
about Polish cinema, you know, so I don't really know what the flow of those movies are.
Yeah, I think like this film just was an unpopular enough opinion that people railed against it. My big issue, the right wing always complains about like, oh, Hollywood doesn't make fun movies anymore. They're just trying to shoehorn a message into it or whatever. When it is indeed a fun action movie which has like one scene with a message. They tried to make a film and all it does is follow a woman walking around having messages shoved down her throat with no incident or action or filmmaking of any kind. Like,
but that's like they're
this is
literally
exactly
their whole
what they
gameplay.
complain about.
Yeah, that's their whole game. Their whole game is, oh well, if clearly you're doing this, so I'm going to do this more to
But
piss
they're
you off.
so bad at it.
Yeah, but this isn't like
I know
whoever
none of
made
these
this, yeah,
actual opinions held in good faith by real people. But
yeah, it's like whoever made this did not take like, you know, one English course, paid attention to how to write a persuasive paper. That's I think what bothers me more than anything else is that I didn't feel like it was even trying to convince me of anything.
yeah, I
It's
didn't.
like,
I couldn't imagine what coming into this film not believing the conspiracy theory and leaving it believing it.
Well, it's
Yeah.
too boring to manage that, isn't it?
It does. It didn't make me care about like. Didn't even make me care that president died. Like they tried to make it a little bit sad, right? They start with like his family being all worried in the room, and they have that scene of at the crash, and you can hear all the cell phones ringing, which was almost a good and poignant scene, I think. And then like, but I didn't care. It didn't do enough to like establish any characters before it killed them, or to establish any characters after it killed them, or to tell me why her mum loved this president so much, or why Russia would want to kill him.
yeah, it's they could have made a film that would have been convincing to at least us as, you know,
Complete outsiders with
Yeah.
no knowledge, right?
Like,
Yeah.
actually, that was the thing in the chat last night, Mark, where you're like, "Oh, maybe we should look ahead for films like this and get a appropriate guest." But I'm thinking, actually, maybe that's not the point of this podcast. Maybe the point is that we just have to stumble into it, confronted. I mean, all three of us did enough reading that we did research, man. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Yeah,
having
but,
to
like,
confronted's got its thing too.
Like
Lives
I
of
had
others, capering on
had
them, you know.
Polish friends in the UK. I could have got someone with a bit of knowledge involved.
So that's it. Yeah, that's the argument, Matt.
Okay. I also, as we've been going today,
Well, yeah, and also
this
as
isn't a
Mark said,
complaint,
like,
but where's the room for a guest in this conversation?
yeah, I know. But yeah, but then maybe we would have someone more knowledgeable talking about this stuff instead of Mark repeating stuff he read on Wikipedia last night, which is not a criticism of you, Mark, but we don't know how right any of that is.
No, yeah, and I may be leaving. Somebody might be listening and angry that I left.
There's probably
stuff
some
out, and I
big
do
context
apologize.
that we're missing, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not from
I mean,
Poland. We didn't grow up with that.
The wiki summary did
Yeah.
have major syntax errors, so you know you can only trust wiki so far.
Yeah, that I'm, you know, absolute beginner, and I apologize if I skimmed over, left things out. But I was just
I
trying
guess my
to
point is
mainly,
both approaches are valid, I think. So yeah.
yeah, I was trying to contextualize like not only the whole environment that led to this movie, but why this movie is the lowest rated film on IMDb and probably will remain so. I don't think anything
For a while, yeah.
we've got in the future is gonna just get review bombed.
Anybody want to
Yeah.
call it a film? There are 4 10-star reviews. I could just read them all, I think.
All right, go ahead. I found
Okay.
one that I kind of think is decent-ish, but you can go ahead.
What's the title?
Great movie, Honor versus Betrayer.
Okay, I'll read the first 3 because they're all real short, and you can read that one. So
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I'm just gonna speed read these. We have good movie based on true facts about the plane crash. Some facts have been changed for the movie, but most are true. 8 out of 79 found that helpful because that said nothing whatsoever.
No, that
movie-
says exactly what it is, right? Because it said nothing about the film, but it explained why people like it.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Best movie ever. That's all caps with an exclamation point. Stupid Polish opposition started hate against that title as it shows how they behave at that tragic moment of Polish history, rubbing shoulders with Russians and letting them run investigation and only let Polish official watch. 3 exclamation points. 7L63 found that helpful. Again, nothing about the movie and doesn't make a coherent thought either.
That is a
This
big
is
part of the conspiracy is that
yeah.
the plane crash was only investigated by Russian
Right.
investigators, which is in accordance with the international law regarding regular air crashes. But her argument was that technically the president's plane is a military flight, so it should involve investigators from both countries.
Okay.
Which, like, okay,
Here's the last of the shorties,
sure.
though. Last of the shorties. Movie isn't
Hmm.
easy to handle it. What movie isn't easy to handle it? Okay. A film for fans of the genre. Negative
What
opinions are
genre?
conspiracy dumps. Negative opinions are the result of the opponent's initiative to let the world learn the truth about this event. If this conspiracy theory were unfounded, the Russians would have given up the wreckage and the black boxes long ago, which they have not done so far. Again, nothing about a reporter in any of these. Mark, you want to do
Nothing about the film, yeah.
the
That
last of the tennies?
it's
this is
almost,
long.
but it's almost like appropriate that for this film alone,
Yeah, to
it's
not talk about the
appropriate.
film, right?
Yeah, to not talk about the film because this film isn't about this film is not a film. It's not about being a film. The film is not a story. Okay, great movie, Honor versus Betrayer, September 2016. The movie excellently uncovers the plot that led to Smolensk crash. My heart and mind was so excited seeing the drama, but not because the President Kaczynski and many others died in the crash, but because I knew that there are people like me who suspected since beginning that it was not just simple crash. Why? Even looking at that very prosaic reason, the party, civic platform, and Polish government at that time with Prime Minister Donald T. That's Donald Tusk, not Donald Trump. Were doing everything to attack and punish people who dared to ask about Smolensk crash. Were they hiding something at that time? I thought. Even after many years in the review, you can find false claims, pilot fault, and pressure on pilots. Even though Miller report said that General Vlasic was not into cabin and there's no pressure on pilots. I have questions to many who reviewed by writing propaganda. Do you trust investigation done on the crash by Putin, FSB, former KGB? By the way, just, anyway, you
It
kind of
goes
get
on a
it.
little more. Are you stopping there?
It calls it Polish Titanic at the end.
Right, that's cool.
39,
This
39
review,
Mark, I'm so glad you just read that one because it reminded me I forgot that there is, in the course of this conspiracy and movie, something called the Miller Report, which reminds me of the Miller Report, the YouTube series I used to watch by Simon Miller, which was far more interesting than this film. It was just he would go and interview like game studios and game developers and stuff, but fully in character as this sort of wrestling heel douchebag. Like, I'm Simon Miller from the Miller Report. And yeah, it was great.
That
And
sounds
just
fun.
every time I heard the words the Miller Report in this film or on the Wikipedia, I was very excited. And I wish I'd remembered that this morning because I would have worn my t-shirt that said the Miller Report.
You go grab if you want.
Hell yeah.
I can't be
So
asked.
that last review though, I mean, of course, it didn't convince me, but it had a lot more chance of doing so than say the movie because it seemed to make a point incoherently better. It's still incoherent, but it's better than the movie's incoherence. Maybe because I get to look at the words on a screen. I don't know.
Well,
Not
there's some,
convinced. I'm just saying that
you
it's
know,
like more compelling than the movie.
there's some interesting articles here. I mean, there's one from 2015 that just the title of this article, "The Plane Crash Conspiracy Theory That Explains Poland." So it's like really
So we understand Poland now?
no, this is
No,
before
we
the movie was made.
disunderstand. We disunderstand Poland now.
We disunderstand
we
them.
completely misunderstand Poland now, like in a
The
absolute
movie
sense of
does
the word.
not want you to understand Poland, I don't think.
No, it wasn't made for us, that's for sure. It's made
for those people in the far right.
It's made for
press room.
exactly who supported it on Patreon or whatever. I don't know that for a fact. I'm assuming it was funded through some sort of crowdfunding.
2016. Yeah. Well, again, there's very
Maybe
little,
it's a little early for that. I don't know.
very little.
Also, it's not like it had a huge budget.
Yeah. Let's see. The director of this movie, just looking, Antony Kraus died in 2018 at age 78.
Oh, the director's dead.
Yeah.
70? He was 76 when he made this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not
And
Is it his
terribly
first
surprising.
film?
no, he made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 films, but this Smolensk is the only one that has a link on Wiki, and the
Hmm.
Smolensk page on Wiki is like a big nothing.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
his 2011 film Black Thursday won special prize at the Polish Film Award. Okay, and something at the Montreal World Film Festival.
I think it's also worth contemplating that this movie probably is weighted differently in Poland, because I don't think we have any other Polish movies on the good or
Hmm.
the bad list. I think it's maybe just there aren't that many Polish movies made in an average year. So
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about the Polish film industry, right? Like,
yeah,
who knows? Maybe there's absolute bangers being made over there.
But I keep thinking of the
probably.
Fireman's Ball from the late 60s. That's Czech. That's not Polish. So, but that's a cool movie. Is that yeah. Anyway, Czech cinema. I know there's some major
Wow.
Czech movies and stuff. I don't know about Poland. So
Wow. Here's a summary of one of that guy's earlier films from 1983, the director of Smolensk. It's called The Weather Forecast. When delivery of coffins foreshadows a harsh winter, residents of retirement home escape their confines and rediscover the world outside.
Actually, it is an interesting premise for a film.
yeah, that sounds like something that
6.6.
could have a story. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe they like pulled this guy who was an auteur out of retirement to make this garbage because he also believed in this dumb bullshit.
Or maybe he would just
Or just he would do
malleable.
anything for a quick paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he had some grandkids who needed a little fund.
The stretch goal for the Kickstarter was getting him on his tractor. Oh boy.
Okay, so what do we have? Incompetently made film with a bad message that's basically unwatchable, but we had to watch it because we have a podcast where we watch these things.
Yeah.
That seems to be the bottom line. So if any listener who's listening to this episode and hasn't seen the movie, which is probably a case, you could not bother. Thanks
Yeah,
for
I
listening
do not
this long.
recommend watching this film.
You could honestly just put on the version on YouTube with no
Just in
subtitles.
Polish. Yeah, you're not going to miss
and
anything
just-
by not hearing the dialogue.
Yeah.
Just to get a feel for how nothing this film is.
Which was my initial pitch, if y'all remember. I was like, I guess we just watch in Polish and read the
No, I think
articles.
that
No,
that would
I'm
be us
being
doing a disservice.
Yeah, I'm being a little snarky there, but because we were like, what, for a second, like, do we need to sub in another film or something? And
Well, also, like,
we
it's
shouldn't
pretty, especially after we found out that it has now dropped to the bottom position. It was. I guess we should make a point of like sharing this one around a bit.
have. Yeah.
Because this could be the one that gets people to click, you know?
This
I'm
is
looking-
either our least listened to or most listened to episode, is my theory. Nothing in between.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is that if we watched it without subtitles, we probably would be less confident judging it, which is not, So
Yeah,
I'm
which we
looking at
did
the
need to
list.
do.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of the highest rated Polish films. The highest one is 7.8. Fifth highest rated film is called Sex Mission.
All right.
Scientists.
We could have
Two
subbed
scientists
Sex
are
Mission.
placed into a 3-year hibernation, but when they wake up, it turns out to have been 50 years, and they're the only two males in a new underground society composed exclusively of women.
Wait, is this the unmade
Doctor Strangelove
Doctor
sequel?
Strangelove sequel? Yeah.
I think it kind of is. And I'm looking at it, and it's from 84, but it looks like 70s sci-fi. And
All
honestly,
right.
damn. Oh my God. I'm going to
Damn,
have to
I'm going on
watch
a sex
this.
mission.
I'm going to have to watch this, dude. This looks awesome. This looks super. I'm freaking out. Okay. Well, I don't know. We're going to have to find a way to do it.
I'm going to look it up. I'm being very careful with my internet.
Yeah,
search
Polish
here.
sex mission sounds like some passport
Oh
bros
God,
shit.
dude! I
Like-
thought right with Polish. Okay. I haven't hit enter yet. I've typed in "sex mission 1984 Polish." What do you think I'm going to see when I hit enter? Here we go.
I think that's enough to get the film.
Missionary porn.
Okay. I got the film, which is watchable.
They're
on
gonna
YouTube.
polish off.
Damn, they got some nasty costumes.
Dude, it looks like someone tried to just make a 70s sci-fi at like a roller skating like facility on a
Golf
weekend.
course,
It looks
too.
great. It looks great. I love Polish food, man. Let's do it. Let's just start
sorry.
a Polish movie podcast.
I have forgotten the most important thing about the Polish film industry, which maybe you've seen internet pages on this before. they're film posters.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Alien and stuff have the most
Mhm.
insane posters. So how does that
Yeah,
happen? You see,
it probably is linked to how they have the best logos for their political parties.
yeah, someone
You
is just
know?
like hardcore on
Graphic design is
design.
Poland's passion. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that where all the cool Eastern Bloc design came from in the 60s and 70s and stuff? Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe so.
Yeah. I mean, if you know, like logoing is definitely one thing that the Soviet world was like, baller at, right?
Hmm.
Yep. Eastern Bloc, the block was the block
The
of
printing
type.
block for making
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
I knew where you were going.
Well, this has been an interesting wormhole rabbit hole.
We're just
And
going down another rabbit hole. So
yeah, I don't know if I could really say I'm glad I watched this film, but it was interesting
I'm
reading about it.
I'm not necessarily glad I watched it, but I'm glad that this podcast was made.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
fact that I had to make it was just a necessary evil.
And the fact that you listeners had to listen to it, also necessary evil.
Well,
Well,
they didn't have to sit through the film. They just got us being great bands.
I'm looking
Yep.
here. I think we're about finished, and we're running a little shorter than normal, which is one happens when we
No,
don't have a guest. And two, I think
and
we
also
just
there's
did
a
like
bunch of the various aspects of talking about films and characters and plot we can't do.
there's that. I
Yep.
also feel like we just went through a weird, intense 25 minute of us all like screaming at each other in like fast English, and just did like 2 hours of podcasting in like 30 minutes.
Maybe, yeah.
As I said, I don't know if we had room for a guest
Oh,
on this
yeah.
one. So
Well, I guess we should have had a guest because we made the same mistake the film did, where it's just a bunch of guys who agree with each other telling each other they agree with each other. So what we should
Yeah.
have done was got a far right Polish conspiracy theorist on the episode to
I
argue
thought
with us.
about I
oh
thought
no, we
about
just
just
made the
coming
Smolensk
in.
of podcasting.
I just thought about coming in and role playing as someone who believed it and just being like, no, look, it happened. All right, look,
These
the
things
pilot was
happen.
drunk. Okay.
Trees are
Clearly.
not strong enough to break airplanes. That was
When-
their
oh my
still being,
God.
didn't they? Wasn't there like one of their lines was the armored tree conspiracy, whatever? That was what they were calling it.
Oh, and then it zooms in on a picture of the towers. Yes,
When-
just in case
yeah.
you didn't get it.
When he brought in 9/11, I was just like, oh no, don't do this.
Well,
Do
Mark, you are
not.
recording this on 9/11.
It's true. But you
And for me
Wow.
and Matt, it's 9/12 already. For you, it is
But-
literally my birthday as we speak. 9/11,
Yeah.
never forget.
happy birthday. Here's another plane crash for you. No, I mean to this what this day is to me is 2 days after the 25th anniversary of the Sega Dreamcast.
Mm.
That's something you can plant your flag in. Well, don't plant the flag in a working Dreamcast by any means, but
Well, I was listening to a podcast a couple of days ago about Jurassic Park 3 Park Builder on the GBA, which was, there's some debate online. It was either released September 10th, 2001 or September 12th, 2001. So it was either The Bomb the Nation Needed, released the day after, or maybe it was released the day before. And there's a genuine possibility someone was playing Jurassic Park Builder when they hit the tower.
and very excited about it too.
I don't feel like anything could top the whole thing where that Coup album cover has them blowing up the World Trade Center with the explosion basically right where the planes were going to hit. Like that is unbelievable. Like I don't even that shakes my faith in reality to its core.
You know what? I have a tripped out metaphysical theory. Wasn't it, like quantum ripples, like a big
Like it's such a
event.
big event that it's
It
sent.
goes both ways, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you just do it. It's not like I'm like,
Well, I just finished reading Dune Messiah, so I'm all about how time can be perceived outside of time.
Okay.
Shit, so.
See, I'll buy into that crap, like
I mean,
I'll buy
yeah,
into
Dune-
that before I'll buy into like, oh, Bush did it. It's a conspiracy. It's like, that's pretty obvious why it happened. It's because you guys were being dicks in the Middle East for decades.
Yeah,
have been
yeah,
present
It's a
continuous
mystery
there.
why 9/11 happened.
Present perfect continuous, Luke.
FBI not talking to the CIA at all, things like that. There definitely threats were received and ignored.
Mhm.
Anyway, yes, it's unfortunately there's just a lot of
Yeah,
it's
there's
rational,
something
unfortunately.
there's something about airplanes exploding that makes them very good at pilling people, I think is what we've learned. Because it
Yeah.
pilled a lot of Americans,
What's
it
a
pilled a lot of Poles.
big flying metal thing? Oh, by the way, I did work out my not theory, but I guess my explanation of why I prefer David Lynch's Dune to Dune. Sorry, I said his name wrong. It's Dune.
Because you're a contrarian.
It's not that hard.
No, I've worked it out. So it's like think you go to a
Didn't even
concert. The Villeneuve one is you go to stage, perfect. I say it wrong again. The perfect, great production, high level production, great lights, great sound. It's a Coldplay concert.
Hmm.
Right? So you're seeing like a absolutely pristine presentation of Coldplay. David Lynch's Dune as you go to a concert. On the left side of the stage, I told Mark this already, but or like the 1966 Beatles rocking out. On the right side of the stage is the Berlin Philharmonic playing Beethoven's Third or something at the same time. You kind of got to focus on one, you know?
I disagree. I think the Villeneuve one is, yeah, maybe it is the equivalent of a Coldplay concert. It's very perfect and off the top. But the David Lynch one is the Beatles showing up, but they can't really be asked to play this concert. They don't like the songs they're playing, and they're not interested in doing this concert.
Well, I was just looking because when we did the podcast a few years ago on Dune, we did I watched the TV version, which was a mistake because I just put on some of that Lynch cut, and I'm like, well, the pacing is definitely more Lynch in that, right? Like, so it feels a little more right. So
I think it's the end. The ending is where Villeneuve wins and Lynch,
oh
because Lynch
yeah,
does the like, oh, Paul wins and everything's great and the heroes
Smash
won and
cut.
happy ending. Whereas Villeneuve is like, hey, by the way, there's a sequel book where you find out this is a really bad thing.
No, I'm not saying that the newer ones like suck or anything. I was just like, why do I kind of prefer the Lynch one? And that's my explanation.
It's because you're a contrarian and you like weird things from the 80s.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I want
am
weird
the...
80s gloop. Where's my third stage navigator in the newer movie? It's not in the book.
It's a shame we don't see any navigators.
I want the Jodorowsky version, which makes me the ultimate contrarian because many people consider him to not even be a filmmaker at all.
Huh? He made films.
But I'm just saying that, like, I think a lot of people consider his films kind of unwatchable or not.
Really?
Well, I saw a film made
cause...
with the best effects engine ever made, which is the human imagination, because I just read the book. So actually, I think I'll find that that's the if you read the book, that's actually,
and you moved into the second one finally.
That's the actual version of the film that makes you that's really the artisanal pick. That's the correct pick.
How far into Messiah are you?
That was the end of the podcast. Shut up. I finished Messiah. I'm about to order Children of Dune.
Wow. Okay.
Messiah's very short. You can bash through it like that.
Well,
it's all just Paul sitting in a tent considering time.
Dude. Okay. No, I am thinking of making the plow again because you are right. You just have to reread Dune every once in a while, and every time you're like, maybe the momentum will take me into the next book, which I guess finally did for you, but I haven't.
Well, it was actually the film's ending, the recent film's ending, that was like, oh man, I think the sequels are probably going to go somewhere very interesting with this shit. I should read them.
Anyway, I'll be rewatching the new ones because currently part 1 is $10 on Blu-ray on Japanese Amazon, but part 2 is still $40. So when part 2 drops, I'll get them.
Well, part 1 is currently free on Amazon Prime, and part 2 was 200 yen to rent. So me and Mercy watched them both as soon as she finished the book.
I want a practical disc. Okay. Anyway, we're wrapping this up, aren't we? Oh wait, Mark's
no, you got a cut at the end of my weird little book.
Yeah,
that was the perfect ending.
No plug. Okay.
We don't need to plug.
He ended it. It's ended.
Okay, it's ended.
What's next week again?
Maybe Crossroads.
Crossroads, with or without Will, unless he wants a different date.
With or without Will.
I will. Yeah, I'll ask him because I know he's like his schedule's weird or whatever. So I that kind of crept up. I mean, sorry, I didn't realize.
If he wants to push it a week, that's probably fine. Or should we just be like, "Fuck you, we're doing it anyway"? I don't know.
He might be like, "Fuck you, I can't push it a week."
Okay,
I don't know.
Anyway, send him an email.
Yeah, like if he wants to push it a week, it's fine. Like we're not like doing too badly, right, Matt?
Yeah, because this week, 3 Idiots is airing. Next week is Smolensk. Then it's Your Name, and then it's Crossroads. So there's some wiggle room there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I gotta go catch a plane in plane. Yeah, I gotta catch a plane to fucking Smolensk. No, I gotta catch a train
no,
tonight.
don't go to Smolensk.
Land at the south airport, not the north one. Okay. Or the other
I'm
way around.
gonna go and kick my way into the train's driver's cabin and demand that he stop in the middle of nowhere and I can jump out.
Okay. Bye, folks. I
yeah.
stopped recording.
All right.